A very good evening and welcome to a date with a dinner set on January the 25th. Happy Burns Night. It's very good to see you here for program 288 of a date with a dinner set. I've almost got program 300 coming into my mind. I hope this finds you well and that you've had a good week with some fascinating and horrifying weather in equal proportions. So yeah, here we are again, another quick week, it seems, anyway. Good evening, Kate and Matthew, how very nice to see you. So you are almost welcome to a date with an inner set, whether you're with us live and chatting away in a chat room, or you may be with us live but just wanting to listen and enjoy the music, or indeed if you are one of the many who watch us on catch-up during the week, when it suits, you are most welcome wherever you are. So, our opening music this evening, well done indeed, Hannah, it was the theme music to Channel 4 News. And I mentioned it a few weeks ago, en passant, as it were. Hello, Moore. How are you, sir? Fantastic to see you, buddy. So the Channel 4 music is actually originally a piece of KPM library music. We hear that phrase often, don't we? It was composed around about 1977, and its library title is Best Endeavours. It was composed by Alan Hawkshaw. I love that photo of him. It's fantastic, isn't it? We had him only a few weeks ago, actually, with regard to the Dave Allen Show theme, and we had him back in November when we had the Grange Hill theme, which is also one of his. He composed hundreds of pieces of library music, some of which were taken up and used for TV and films. He's also a Hammond organ player. Oh, incidentally, he was the performer on the milk tray advert from the 70s. If you remember that, he performed all the tracks and produced that one. So Best Endeavours, or the Channel 4 News by Alan Hawkshaw, which was used when Channel 4 began transmitting in 1982, and I'm reliably told by that great Wikipedia in the sky that it is still being used now. So that's pretty good, isn't it? It's 44 years still using the same theme, and how fantastic for that. Good evening, Martin and Jeannie. How wonderful to see you. It's all good news this evening, isn't it? So as I say, you are most welcome. I'm looking down my list. I'm looking at the composers. Wow, there's 6 amazing composers this evening. So a real mixture. A slightly noisy start and a quite contemplative ending to come, and there's something a bit groovy in the middle. Oh, and something new that you've not heard before. But I hope you will enjoy what we have to offer you this evening. As always, if you're with us live in the chat room and you wish to join in with a chat, then chat away and tell us how you're having your haggis this evening. We'd love to know. Meanwhile, I'll have a sip of haggis coffee, and we'll move on. at all you showbiz types out there, aren't you? Fantastic. Very, very quickly. Who was first? Who was first? Who was first? Brother Mark and Judy and Hannah and Alison and Jill and Ross. You're all there. You're all there. You all know it. It's one of those, such a well-known theatre song, isn't it? And we talked vaguely about it last week, and that's why it's cropped up this evening. Not only because it's a nice, bright song to start with, because it famously was in Annie Get Your Gun. And I told you a little bit about the backstory of Annie Get Your Gun, based on the life of sharpshooter Annie Oakley, and with a score by the wonderful Mr. Irving Berlin, he of 1500 Songs fame. And in Annie Get Your Gun, there are sort of 12 cracking songs, including the one we had last week. They say it's wonderful. You can't get a man with a gun doing what comes naturally. Anything you can do, I can do better. And that one, there's no business like show business, which is such a theatre song, isn't it? It's a real sort of get you going type of song. And of course, I did say last week, but I'll say it again, why not? Irving Berlin wasn't originally going to be the person to compose the score for Annie Get Your Gun. It was set to be Jerome Kern, who had been writing film scores for Fred Astaire and a lot of other people over in Hollywood. He came back to New York, but very sadly he tripped over and suffered a massive brain hemorrhage and passed away a few days later. So the producers of Annie Get Your Gun, which was from 1946, by the way, Rodgers and Hammerstein, they approached Irving Berlin to complete that amazing score. So there we go, that was our opening one this evening. I'll press that button, which says if you'd like to press the thumbs up button, we'd love to have your thumbs up on the channel. Oh, what a cracking start. What was cheating? Hang on, I'm just reading this. What was cheating? That was cheating. Oh, right, yeah. Cheating away down in Herefordshire. Fantastic. What are we doing? Coffee and something slower. Something slower. Let's calm it down. Not Gershwin on this occasion, brother, but exactly the right era. So I shoved you up a little bit of Purple Haze as a bit of a clue. That was Mood Indigo. Mood Indigo, which was composed in 1930. And I always used to say, including on this programme, and composed by Duke Ellington. That's not quite true. However, he was responsible for a very particular sound involved with that. It was mainly composed by Barney Bigard. Now, Barney Bigard was the clarinetist in the Ellington band for over 15 years. And he had the melody of that tune, and he gave it to Duke, and Duke gave it his inimitable treatment. And it became quite a hit. And Duke Ellington says of that piece that it was the first piece that he put together that was really intended for radio transmission, and it took advantage of the development in microphone technology and a peculiar effect that took place in the studio and indeed through the microphone to do with overtones. So normally in your big band, you would have, let's say, the clarinets on the top of a texture, and then you've got the trumpets in the middle, then the trombones on the bottom. Now, what Duke Ellington did for this piece was to reverse that. He put the trombones up very high at the top of the pitch, left the trumpets exactly where they were, and put the clarinets way down low in their shallow register. And with muted brass, what this did when he put three note chords together in the scoring, it created an overtone which created the effect of four voices, a very thick sound, a very particular sound to Mood Indigo. And it did have lyrics to it, and the lyrics were in dispute because relatively recently, in the 1980s, this chap, Michel Parrish, claimed that he wrote the lyrics. That had not been heard before he said it. Michel Parrish, incidentally, wrote the lyrics to Sleigh Ride, Stella by Starlight, etc., etc., lots of things. And, apparently he wrote the lyrics to Mood Indigo. Fascinating stuff, do we not think? If you're totally new to this, and if you're watching it particularly on Catch Up and you're wondering what it is, this is A Date with a Dinner Set on YouTube channel Gigi the Piano Man, and we'd love to have you subscribing to our channel, and of course, like we've just said, to like it and leave a comment and share. Absolutely, Janet. I've got a feeling because I've played that with Jamie and indeed Monty years back. We bust that. I've got a feeling we sort of vaguely talked about it, but I may not have described it quite so well as I did just now. I thought I did rather well, actually. So there we go. Coffee and then something appropriate. Yes, yes, yes. As Hannah and Jill have identified the film, the 1983 film Yentl. And brother, indeed, that was the song, Papa, Can You Hear Me? And that film famously conceived by, co-directed by, co-produced by, sung by, blah, 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 by Ms. Barbara Streisand. And a fantastic job she did of it, I have to say. With a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful score by Michel Legrand. And there's the team that put it all together, the amazing lyricists Marilyn and Alan Bergman, and of course Barbara Streisand, the main performer. Very, very moving, powerful film from 1983. And if you don't know the story, the rough story is that the character Barbara Streisand playing wanted to study the Jewish traditions, if you were, but that wasn't allowed, so she disguises herself as a man with all sorts of complications, but it is quite an amazing film. I said it was appropriate, and that is because tomorrow, the 26th of January, gosh, doesn't time go quickly? 7 years since Michel Legrand passed away, as I think is fairly well known, one of my great heroes. So yeah, seven years tomorrow. So that's why we had that this evening. That wonderful, as Jean says, that wonderful Barbara Streisand song. So I hope you enjoyed that one. I've been doing feel-good music for the uploads on Friday, and the one that went up on Friday the 23rd, so well known it doesn't really need an introduction, so let's give it one. It was When I'm 64, as famously recorded by the Beatles and as composed by Mr. Paul McCartney, composed apparently when he was 14 and then used as a sort of one of their numbers in their early Cavern days. But it first appeared on the Sgt. Pepper's album, and then it was also put into Yellow Submarine, the animated film, as well. So I've done what I hope is a fairly accurate cover, a fairly exact cover of the particular sound created by When I'm 64, which we all know and love. And it has a very distinctive sound, a very cheery, optimistic, chirpy beat. And it also has famously two clarinets and a bass clarinet accompanying it, and a little bit of brushwork on the drums as well. And what may not be quite as well known was it was conceived, written and performed in a lower key from that in which you hear it. It was written in C major, but back in the studio with George Martin, after many days of various mixes, between them they hiked it up a semitone to D flat, and part of the reason for that was to make it sound less samey, but also to give a more youthful quality to Paul McCartney's voice. It's a very effective trick. So therefore my cover of that is also in the resultant key of D flat, which I have to say is a jolly sight more easier of a key in which to play When I'm 64 than C major. There you go. You heard it here, folks. You really heard it here. I can tell the coffee's gone cold, so we're going to go on to water before we do something else. The elephant's moving far too slowly. Sorry, I thought I'd let it exit the stage. Yeah, believe me, folks, I did try because I'm quite proud of the fact that we're approaching the end of January and the poinsettia is still still very much alive, and I didn't want to move it because they do get upset when they're moved. So I just moved it a little bit and hoping our dear elephant would sort of neatly walk behind the poinsettia and not crush it, and indeed not interfere with all the electronic equipment. Sadly, didn't get the memo, but it lives to tell the tale. Gosh, I'm nearly being attacked by the Scottish flag. I didn't realise it was quite so close to me, but that was indeed as you all said, Jill, Hannah, etc. Baby Elephant Walk, a fantastic bit of music composed by the wonderful cheeky Mr. Henry Mancini. And it was composed in 1961, which, brother, I gather, was a good year. And it was composed for the John Wayne film Hatari. And every time I play that one on the show, I do have to tell you a little bit of story that relates to it. And it was a spontaneous bit of filming action that just happened, but it was kept in, where some baby elephants went down to the watering hole, accompanied by the lead actress, whose name has totally forgotten me. I'm sorry about that. But they decided to keep this amazingly cute footage in. It's probably the only cute thing in the film. But that meant that it needed some scoring. So Henry Mancini took one look at that film and he said, you know what, those elephants are walking 8 to the bar. They're doing an 8 to the bar boogie. So that's exactly how that iconic bit of music came about. It's got a very distinctive sound. If you can sort of, I was going to say visualize, oralize the sound of that. It starts off with a steam organ sort of sound. There's lots of low brass to emulate elephant sounds, and the main tune itself played on clarinet and doubled by flutes. It's such a kooky bit of music. Absolutely love it. A real classic from 1961. So I hope you enjoyed that one. Now, I'm sorry we're not having anything Scottish tonight, but it would be true, of course, to say that today is indeed Burns Night. So is anyone having traditional haggis, neeps and tatties? Are we parading in with the haggis and attacking it with a sword and reciting Robbie Burns's famous poetry and drinking drams of whiskey, etc., etc.? I wonder. But it is Burns Night, so that is indeed very much something to celebrate, and lots of people I know are celebrating that this evening. Like fine wine, brother, fine wine. You don't always wine, I know, but yeah. So, yeah. Now, I actually quite like haggis, neeps and tatties. And I have been to a Burns evening. It's some time ago. I mean, I know I'm really boring, and it's not my sort of evening at all. You know me, I'm a very shy, retiring, sort of unassuming, quiet little character. Well, at least when I'm not performing, I am. And when I went to this Burns evening, far too much hullabaloo going on. Oh, dearie me. So much drama. You know, I mean, bagpipes. I can take them all, leave them. I know they said leave them all, leave them. But yeah, it's great fun, but it's just not for a boring little introvert like me, I'm afraid. But absolutely love the food that goes with it. I meant to say, by the way, so I will say it. We were talking about the Beatles just now, but I did put a slide into the machine because I think this is worth mentioning as well in relation to the Beatles, that Mr. Robbie Williams has broken the Beatles record in the last couple of days with his 16th number one album, which is quite an incredible achievement, Mr. Robbie Williams. He's had his ups and downs, hasn't he? He's fortunately very much up at the moment. And so his 16th album has officially beaten the Beatles record of 15 albums. And I read some incredible number that he's actually sold some 21 million or more, 22 million even, albums. Very successful artist. I really particularly like the sound of his voice when he did 2 or 3 of those sort of big band albums back in the early 2000s. But I thought that was worth mentioning about Robbie Williams, because that's incredible to have passed that Beatles. Hello Portugal. How very nice to see you. Fantastic. Right, what are we doing? Oh yeah, something new. We've not had this on the show before. You know, as I was tidying up the other day, it does happen occasionally, I came across this and I thought, what is that? And I remembered playing it for an audition years ago. And it's a great piece. So I was just playing through it and I thought, you know what? We'll have that on the show. It's a great number. I hope you will enjoy it. It is a bossa nova, very famous theatre song. From Company, 1970, composed by the wonderful Mr. Stephen Sondheim. Absolutely amazing show, and I absolutely love that track, and made very famous by Elaine Stritch, who starred in the original Broadway production back in 1970, and indeed in the original West End production in 1972. She does it in a very particular way. A very, very demanding song to sing, but it's absolutely beautiful. And very surprisingly for Stephen Sondheim, normally I can either play the melody or his incredibly complex accompaniment, but that one actually fits quite well together. It was you should have said it's a very, very particular Sondheim sound. He very much, where are you, Stephen? There he is. Very much composes from the outside in, shall we say. He famously says that quite often inspiration comes from a small riff or a motif, a 2-bar pattern in the accompaniment, and that gives the whole sort of chug, the whole rhythmic force, if you like, behind it. So that's what it was. Absolutely great. I urge you to look that up on YouTube. Look up Elaine Stritch singing Ladies Who Lunch. It's just a mind-blowing performance. So just before we launch into our final song this evening, so it's obviously Burns Night tonight, and tomorrow is the 7th anniversary of the passing of Michel Legrand, but also coming up this week, on the 27th, on Tuesday, of course, is International Holocaust Memorial Day. And so, yeah, 81 years ago, the liberation of Auschwitz. It's quite amazing when you think of it like that. So our final piece this evening will come as no surprise to you, but I hope you will enjoy it before we say goodnight in our usual way. Yes, indeed, as Hannah and my brother Mark and Mr. Moore said, and Alison and everyone, and Kate, the very, very haunting, that is definitely the word, Kate, main theme from an incredibly powerful movie, Schindler's List, sort of thing that should be watched by everyone, really. 1993, and that seemed the best way to end this evening's A Date with a Dinner Set programme 288 on January the 25th. So thank you so much once again for being with us. It is always a huge pleasure to think about and prepare and to play for you on A Date with a Dinner Set, and I do wish you a very good week that is to come. And see you next week, and indeed next month. Do take very good care of yourselves. Thanks so much for listening. All the very best, and good night.